This is a Dikshitar Kriti on Akhilandeshwari. Like Dikshitar's Kritis also contain all the three names that Swamiji has said, so you can watch out for them. Three kinds of names. ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष माम्। अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष माम्। श्री अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष माम्। आगम संप्रदाय निपुणे श्री अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष मागम संप्रदाय निपुणे श्री अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष माम्। निखिललोकनित्यात्मिके विमले निखिललोकनित्यात्मिके विमले निर्मले श्यामले अम्ब निर्मले श्यामले सकल कले निर्मले श्यामले सकल कले अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष माम्। आगम संप्रदाय निपुणे श्री अखिलाण्डेश्वरी रक्ष माम्। लंबोदर गुरु गुह पूजिते लंबोदर Site hasite lambodara guru guha pujite lambalakodbha site hasite vagdevata radhite varadeva devata radhite varade varashila raja nute sharade jambhari sambhavite janardhananute jujavanti raganute jalli madala jarjaravadya nada mudite jnana prade Khilandeshwari Raksha Mam Amagama Sampradaya Nipune Shri Akhilandeshwari Rakshamam
Excellent. Very nice. Akhilandeshwari has to come here now. Very nice. Agama Sampradaya Nipune. She is Nipuna, very skilled. In what? In bringing down the Agama Sampradaya. What we are learning is Agama Sampradaya only. So very, very appropriate. Good. Okay. Karma Jadam. Okay. Ramachandra, who is the questioner? Good. Jadam, insentient, inert, unintelligent. Translation, no perception, no consciousness. You have given a sweeping interpretation, explanation for Jadam as that which needs to, I would say, become evident, not be evident, become evident, made evident. Yeah, but here said be. So, that which can be objectified, that which is not self-evident, correct. But we do karma actions through body, mind and intellect. Then does this imply that mind, intellect and ego are also Jadam? Yes. Everything other than Ishvara is Jadam? Yes. How can we accept or understand that my mind, intellect and ego are Jadam? That is what is going to come up soon. Unintelligent intellect is it not contradictory? It is. Then what propels me? What drives me? What pushes me? Can I understand that as per the Siddhanta, the so-called free will or freedom to choice is basically an illusion? It is mithya. I don't want to use the word illusion. I'll explain that. As in Marjara Kishore Nyaya, probably you don't need Marjara Kishore here. See, the bulb is glowing. Is the bulb luminous or not? It is. So suppose you replaced conscious with luminous for a minute. It lights up. Is it luminous? Yes, it is luminous. Is it really luminous? If it is really luminous, the bulb should always glow. Switch off the light. What happens to it? It doesn't glow. Means what? It is only a medium to express the luminosity borrowed from something else. If this body was really a conscious entity, then it should always be conscious. But it is not. Therefore, this body is jadam. And it needs to be illuminated. You cannot know the body unless you see it. In sleep, you don't know the body. Correct? Mind. What is the mind story? Mind also needs to be illuminated. How do you know what's happening? Because you see what's happening in your mind. Therefore, mind also needs to be illuminated. It is jadam. Again, in sleep, it's not there. In coma, it's not there. Buddhi, mind, I will put them together. Ahankara, same story. Everything masquerades as Chaitanyam. This is called avidya. That you take all these to be Chaitanyam is avidya. Therefore, avidya karyam is all jadam. You're right. I deliberately gave a very sweeping interpretation to say everything other than Atma, which we don't know, is jadam. And what is Chaitanyam, we don't know. We don't know it entirely. Not that we don't know it, because everything we know is the Chaitanyam alone. But do you know that what that really is? You don't. Everything is not illusion. Look, is this pot an illusion? Then what is it? Is it real? If you say real, then I will say my definition of real. Let us say this is real first. Let us say this is real. What about clay? Is it real or not? Are there two realities here? Are they both equally real? What do you say? Are they both equally real? Clay and pot? Are there two realities in my hand? What is that? You decide. Pot was not there, clay was there. Pot is there, clay is there. Pot won't be there, clay will be there. What is more real? Clay. What do I have on my hand? Clay. Then what is pot? Real or unreal? You can't say unreal because you see it. You can't say real because reality goes to clay. Then what is this? This is called a conditional or dependent reality. Has no being of its own. That is called mithya. I haven't stepped into that realm yet. You will see that coming soon. Okay? Good question, but that's the answer. This we will have to look at a lot more than this, because it's not simplistic. It seems simple, but it's not simplistic. I thought 10 days was enough. I'm not sure now. We'll see where it goes. All right. I want to understand the Vedanta view of compassion. Good question. Krishna tells Arjuna that his grief for those he will kill comes from his false idea that they are their bodies. He also says that battle was destined to happen, has happened before, will happen again. This seems to discourage us from caring about the suffering of others. To a question last night, you said, we can do worldly service if it is without expectations. I didn't say that. I said, you do, and whatever, you have an expectation that something will happen, but it may not happen. You can expect, otherwise you won't start, but you don't think it will necessarily happen. Okay? Slight difference there. Not slight, big difference there. Because that, no expectations, no fool will do anything. Expectation is there, but expectations may be belied. Fair? Okay. Okay, then, to a question you said that, and then, but shouldn't, okay, we can do without expectations, but shouldn't get too involved in improving the world and lose sight of moksha. I didn't say that. I didn't say you shouldn't get too involved. Even Shastra doesn't say you shouldn't do. That's your privilege. I only said, if you have reality for all these things in the world, then you are in the realm of karma phala. You want the situation to be different. You believe situation difference is what makes you happy. Go for it. But after fixing the situation, you will still find yourself unhappy. You will find one more problem to champion. Once you get into this mode of championing some area, of some area, how many years has women's right been fought about, for example? For how many years? You're from where? US. Are women's rights good, or are you fighting for them even there now? Still. Do you think it'll end? Is Europe any better? Germany? Huh? Ongoing. See, it's ongoing. Despite the fact you had a German chancellor who's a woman for years. Right? If she couldn't get women's rights, what can you do immediately? My consideration, don't get involved. I'm saying, you decide, what do you want in life? If you want to fight for the rights, please do. Never say don't do. But understand, after the fight, even if you win, you will still be looking for the next fight. This I'm saying. Why? Karma kimparam, karmata jadam, kriti maho dadhau, patana karanam. Why? Phalam ashashvatam. It cannot give you lasting absence from need. Because once you say, I am needy, and by taking this I'll become fulfilled, you have concluded one thing there. I am needy, I depend on something other than me to fulfill me. And until you believe that, you will always be a needy person. This is a fact, to be discerned, not to be taken at face value because I say so. If you are a rat in the rat race, even if you win the race, you are still a rat, afraid of the cat. It makes sense? This is the story. Therefore, I am not saying you should not. I will not use those words. And if I did, it's by mistake. Should and must is best left to Ishvara. Should, must, never. Best left to Ishvara. And Shastra will only say what is. What you do is Kartritantra. It's your privilege, depending on your understanding of the reality. Shastra will not tell, even if it says do, we don't do. I said this morning, Shastra says every morning do Sandhya. Who does? Nobody does. Shastra says don't lie. Who doesn't lie? A lot of people lie. Most people lie. So, Shastra can only tell you what is favorable to you from your perspective. Whether you pay heed to it or not is your privilege. And that it's a privilege until your will is really free. And when it is completely taken over by our desires, wishes, likes and dislikes, it is vitiated. That's what happens.
Can I have a question regarding this? Yes. So I have a question regarding this, that you mentioned the word privilege, and I recognize that I have certain privilege to be here and to be able to listen to this, whether it be privilege as in time, or like my family would allow, I don't have those bondage from my family. And even like when it comes to participating in the world in a certain sense, let's say standing up for women's right, I find myself privileged in that as well, because I'm grateful to women who already fought and things like that. But people who go through injustice, let's say in terms of caste or whatever, and they are not that privileged. So does the Shastra also say that to come to the path of mukshutvam, where you are able to say that yes, what I want in life is moksha. You need to do certain karma before, or we just all have it already.
No, we are saying you have to develop that objectivity. I showed you. You want me to show again? After all that, you have to come back and stand straight. You're ready? You're ready for Vedanta.
But certain karma has to be done, right?
I told you. You have to be like that. How you get there? You cannot get there unless you have Antahkarana Shuddhi. How do you get that? Do karma without saying, I will do it and I will get this. You do. You may get, you may not get. And do it not because you want some phalam only, but because you want Antahkarana Shuddhi. Okay? See, sometimes this Vedanta coming to the public forum is hard. Because unless you understand what we are saying, it always looks easier to go straight for Jnana. That is why I am spending time on this. Otherwise, I need more time on the remaining half. But I am spending time on this because I think this is where value lies for us. If we don't understand this, Vedanta just goes like this. It's a very nice aerodynamic head. Goes over it. Like bullet train, cuts through everything. Okay, let's go further. All right, so now, we shouldn't get too, not we shouldn't, you can. Okay, we shouldn't get too involved in, where is it? Yeah, we can do worldly service if we do it without forcing a result. Expecting means not that way, but shouldn't get too involved in improving the world and lose sight of moksha. If you get involved and you really want it, moksha is not in sight really, because you want some local end. And I told you, if you recognize what you want is a freedom from want, which is centered on you, but you think it will be centered on some object coming, you're lost. That's no longer a moksha pursuit in the right frame. You can lose and come back, but at that point you're not going for moksha. You're just going for your mind cannot accept the fact. See, women's rights, animal rights, women's rights at least understandable. Animal rights, who gave rights to animals? You have a duty to animals. Animals don't have rights. You have a duty. Women don't have rights, even men don't have rights. You have duties to each other. That's what we say. If you follow your duty to me and I do my duty to you, we both get our rights. Not by force, not by fighting for it, but because I struggle to do my duty, which implies the right of another. That's the vision. This right-based business is only going to lead to conflict. Never will it solve a problem. And especially with what is being touted, the best form of government is democracy. In democracy, who votes? How many people understand what running a nation means? You know what happens in this country? You throw sops at people. You give them, okay, we'll give you subsidized food. We'll give you some free income. Don't do anything. We are making this country a country of lazy people who don't want to do work. That's the fact. Because you don't have, it's all number games. How many votes will I get by selling you this, by giving you this subsidy? Food subsidy we need. We say it's food security. But do you need food security by making fellows lazy? Or do you need food security by making them productive? Are we incentivizing to do something, or are we disincentivizing them? You say we'll give you 10,000 rupees a month, and we'll tell you we'll take care of your food grains at absolute cheap rates, and the fellow who gets that, he gambles part of that money. You don't get good employee laborers here because they are too busy drinking. And they don't care for this because they can live happily. And now they become smarter. One fellow says, I'll give you 10,000 rupees. Another fellow will give you 5,000 rupees. He'll collect money from both and vote for whoever he wants. They're getting even smarter. This is what democracy does. Democracy means the majority decides what will happen. And the majority normally is non-thinking. People. People. In any society, the number of thinking individuals in any time in the world is always small. The people who frame policy, who have that vision, are very few. If you go with their vision, society does well. If you follow the vision of the masses, you will only get what the masses want. The masses want enjoyments, free enjoyments, if possible. So, this idea, why I'm saying this, rights for women, rights, as I said, women's rights at least understandable. Animal rights, your dog has rights, and that competes against a human being, that doesn't gel in my head. Duty, I understand. Look, why should we have pets? What is a pet? A pet is an animal which is free. You bring it and you put it on the leash for your pleasure. That's the reality.
And then you train it.
And you train it to not poop in your house. You know, is this rights of animals? First you make a pet. Pet means what? Plaything? An animal is a plaything, a living creature? Give me a break. There is no pets. In India, there is no concept of pets. There was no concept of pets. Now what? Supreme Court has to do some things. It's come to that. Supreme Court has to talk about this. Why? All because the people who have pets have more money and more influence. That's the reality.
They humanize the animals.
That's okay. Look, animals also are living beings and they should be treated well. But first you bring them home, you feed them what you want, right? And then you check their pedigree, you breed them as you want. Are they meant for breeding for you? What's the pedigree of this dog? You want to know? Oh, Alsatian or my dog is this dog. And then you have a pet superstore to buy things for your pet feels cold. Which pet ever had a cloth in life? What kind of idiocracy is this? I don't know. I mean, all I'm saying, I have nothing against people, okay? Because when you are living in a culture and everybody has a pet, it's fine. But I'll tell you why pets are increasing. Because you can't trust your fellow human being. People at work, in big companies, lot of work pressure, they either don't get married, or if they get into relationship, it breaks. And then the only fellow who keeps the relationship intact is this pet. When you come home, it'll always wag its tail at you. That's one guy who is always kind to you. Therefore, you love your pets more than human beings. Because the pet loves you unconditionally. Absolutely. It's a human need. And for that, you make that poor creature whole day to sit at home when this guy has gone to work. And when it comes back, its only job is. And then he is very happy and he feeds it. But is that what a dog or cat was meant for? What kind of pet? I'm showing you the extremity of these rights business. Women's rights. Let's get there. Not in the question. Shall I leave it there? Okay. Okay, we'll go further. Fair enough. All right. Fair enough. Agreed. All I'm saying, I'm just, not for your sake, but I'm just showing how we are misguided, okay? That's all. Okay.
But I would like to hear your perspective.
Later. I think he pointed the right direction to me. That it's not his question. Thank you. Okay. Now, but rights for women, that's where I got off, okay? Food for the hungry, or even simply following ahimsa, may all help people towards that same freedom from want. True. Very true. It may help. Why else are you here teaching us not to help people, to free yourself, if you're interested? Within the order of Ishvara, there is ignorance and suffering. the motivation to be free of it, and also the compassion that extends that yearning for freedom out to others. Correct. Beyond one's limited sense of self. Is compassion another emotion we should grow wary of? No. Or is it even greater form of the Purushartha to end not just my suffering, but all suffering? Yes, if you can end all suffering, that's a better Purushartha. Agreed. Compassionate action to help others within the dualistic ignorance that they are separate individuals can be devotion to forms of God. Okay? Perhaps in the final state, compassion can lead us to see all suffering as the same and thus dissolve the ignorant separation and realize our unity in Bhagavan, the Karuna Purna Sudhabde. For that person recognizes, not for everybody else. On the other hand, to pacify our concern for the suffering of others by affirming the perfection of Ishvara could be to disguise the knowledge what is really our desire for security and our aversion to discomfort and responsibility. I regularly fall for this trap myself. So all that said, this is all the background for the question. Right? What is the Vedanta view of compassion? How do we have both compassion and dispassion? And how do we appreciate Bhagavan's perfection without using that perfection as a blanket under which to hide? Very good. I like your questions. Okay? Now, compassion is an extension real of empathy. We all have empathy that we are given unless we neutralize it by becoming insensitive. We are not trying to make anybody insensitive. I don't want anybody to lose your sensitivity. Sensitivity must be there, but sensitivity should not become a cause for you to cry. The sensitivity, you should be strong enough to be sensitive. If you are not strong enough, that sensitivity will make you depressed. I'll give you a simple example. You are on a flight. What's the instruction the air hostess gives you? If there's a drop in cabin pressure, what happens next? Masks will fall. Please pull them and put them on your face and breathe. What's the next instruction? If you have infants with you, help yourself first before helping them. Why? Why that instruction?
Otherwise, you can't help anybody.
Because they will, of course, go, you will also go. Right? Until you have this understanding, your compassion is within avidya. Not saying it's wrong, but you depend emotionally on things being okay, otherwise you can't handle. I have to carry you in buckets. If you are under that emotional situation. So you can't handle somebody hurting an animal, so you cry. You can't handle women's rights being trampled, you cry. Does it improve the animal or does it improve the women's rights? It doesn't improve either. If you're strong enough, do something. What can you do? I will save one animal. Please do. Please do. I'm not stopping you. But now you say, but there are millions of women and I can save only 10. When will I save all of them? Oh God, let me be born again and again to save all the women. That's what you'll have to say. Because it's an endless task. Do you think Krishna managed to change Arjuna or Duryodhana? Duryodhana didn't change. He said, hey, you're a magician, I know. Arrest him. Therefore, understand. We only understand what is within our capacity to understand. Avidya is not easily understood. You cannot appreciate that I don't know myself. It's not easy. Now, if you figured out that, look, any action, any karma which gives a result, that result is going to be limited. And that after that limited result, My problem is not that. My problem is I feel I am limited. And I want to free myself. And if I want to free myself, if I keep going back and wallowing in this idea that others are limited, I would help them. A limited fellow trying to help another limited fellow does not make an unlimited. So nobody says you should come and study Vedanta, you should do something. I am never saying that. Did I ever say it to anybody? No. I'm saying this is the fact. The earth goes around the sun. Fact. No, the earth is flat. Oh, you're welcome to believe that. And you can never take a boat out because you'll fall off the deep edge. It's a fact. Possible. But I'm saying dispassion is understanding that, what is there for a reason. I didn't create it. To the extent I have a role, I can reduce it. But I am not the problem. This is how the world I am born into is. I didn't ask to be born here. Somebody else runs the show. Who runs the show? Ishvara. Why did he create a show like this? Because that's what we all jointly bargained for. Karma phala. Therefore, Swamiji, this is also difficult. True. But suppose you woke up from a dream where all this was a dream, what would you say? Women were struggling, not like this, much more than this. What compassion do you require for them who were in your dream? Once you know this, it's not that you have no compassion. Now you're free enough to be compassionate without being a victim of your own compassion. Dispassion is being free from passion. Neither passionate for A nor B. Both of them are equally useless. Both of them are equally untrue. Whether it's a pot, a clay pot, or a gold chain, both of them are equally untrue in terms of reality. If I'm looking for money, yes, this is more valuable. If I'm looking for something to hold water, this is more valuable. I know that neither of these is my source of trouble. My problem is I think I need money and I need some pot to carry water. If I don't have that need, neither, they're equal. You ask a cow, if Bhagavad Gita is more valuable or something else, it will say, you give me Bhagavad Gita or some history, Indian history, which is all lies. Both of them I will eat. They're equally good to me. Paper, Be like a cow. That's dispassion. If you understand what I mean. So, dispassion is because of understanding that the two things you're comparing are not really something you have to worry about. Compassion is, even for a jnani, it's not that he doesn't have mind. Mind is there. Emotions are there. In fact, emotions are more stark. But he also knows, I can't fix the world. That's for Ishvara to do. And that depends on people's karma. You keep destroying forests. Keep destroying forests. And you expect there'll be no impact. You keep spewing out greenhouse gases. And Mr. Trump says it's all bullshit. There's no climate effect. And he gets away with it. So, what kind of world are we in? With leaders who lead in this way. Who says, drill baby, drill. That's all he cares for. Drill for what? Oil, money. It's all money. Maybe that's people who need to drill and get money. That's all right. But all I'm saying is, when the world of people is all looking only at their own karma, their own desire fulfillment, the outcome has to be a world which is going to be more and more like this. You can't change it. So compassion is fine. Compassion which you can't handle is not fine. To handle your compassion, you need to be more and more objective. And if you're objective, take it. I shouldn't buckle. Compassion should not be my weakness. It should be my strength, my privilege. Right? So that is the answer to one part of your question. Let me see if I answered it fully. Okay. How do you appreciate Bhagavan's perfection? First part is okay? No, something is not right.
What about the motivation, the ultimate purushartha of ending all ignorance?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
Even if it's impossible, even if it's
switch it on. Is it on? Ah, okay.
Yeah, even if it's impossible, if we orient ourselves towards that vision
Which vision?
of ending not just my ignorance, but all ignorance and suffering.
That vision is, some people talk about it. You will hear of that. You will hear this in the Buddhist context, that the Bodhisattva does not want to go alone. He wants to make everybody free. Hey, I can scream hoarse here, but everybody is not listening. And finally, you have to choose to be free. I can't make you free. Therefore, freedom is for you, not for anybody else. Who is that you? The same Atma. You are confused. Confusion is there in each mind. Where there is a confusion, there it has to be resolved. There is no universal place of confusion. Confusion is in each mind. Bulbs are many. If one bulb is fused, you have to replace that bulb. Every bulb doesn't get replaced, we replace that bulb. Okay? Therefore, this idea that you have to free everybody, noble thought, but you understand it's not possible.
But even if it's not possible,
Okay?
if we're oriented in that way
Yeah.
to think that other suffering is not different from our own, that could be a practice of
That is what the Vedic Dharma was about, wherein the rule is not by democracy. The rule is based on Shastra, which tells you everyone has duties. The king has a duty to protect what is right, what is correct. If you hurt somebody, you have to be punished. It's not just that much. We had a jurisprudence wherein it's not same crime, same punishment. The crime gets a punishment in keeping with how well informed you are supposed to be. If you are a person with no education, you get 1x punishment. If you are much better, you get 2x. If you are more, 4x, if not 16x. A Brahmana gets 16x punishment, whereas a Shudra will get 1x punishment. Is that right or not? Because you have to take a person's ignorance into consideration before you punish him. This system, which is there in this culture for long, has gone through a lot, and it is not ordinary. But to understand and make it happen requires very enlightened leaders. And democracy is a bane. I'm not saying I have a solution for the problem. All I'm saying, democracy with people who don't understand even what is good for them will never lead to a drastic change. We are in trouble. To that extent. 1 second. Yeah.
well, I'm not advocating for democracy, but
No, what I'm trying to say to you is, look, take the example. Let's say there are hungry people, okay?
yeah.
Is there a dearth on food for all? The earth produces enough. All right?
Yeah.
Now, what do we do in the Americas? You have huge swaths of land where you sow corn. For what? So you can get the pork and the beef up. So you make ranches where these animals feed. And what's the conversion efficiency in any conversion? Never 100%. Which means for the food they consume, what they produce as meat, the conversion is much lesser. Efficiency is very low. Therefore, if we stopped all this meat farming, you will find enough food. Not only that, there was a time when American ships dumped grain into the sea. For what? Just to keep the prices going up. Just to keep the prices up. Why? Because I want to make money. I would rather not give money to food to a hungry guy, but I want to make my food prices high. Why is the Midwest so important in the US? Because that's where the votes are coming for the party which is in power. Right? So I'm saying, This is how human being is gamed to maximize his individual advantage. Therefore, I'm saying all your goals are fine, but I'm saying as an individual, how much can you change?
Maybe not much, but
So-
if I take the opinion that it's beyond me and I can only worry
What did I
about
say?
my own
I
suffering.
didn't say that. I said what? Reach out. Do what you can. You can help one person. You can reach 10. Do. Happily do. And if that's what you want to do it all your life. I have no problem. I'm just saying, how much ever you do, your task will still be a tall order. You want to do it? Please do. Nobody is asking don't do. And there are people. What is Greta doing now? Greta Thunberg. What's she doing? What about this Malala Yousafzai? What is she doing? She won a Nobel Peace Prize. What? She's a celebrity from this child age. She will never grow up to be a proper normal person because celebrity status kills you. See, everything has its place and everything has its reason. I'm not finding fault. I'm saying if you come to Vedanta and ask me, I don't have to answer any of this. I can say all this mithya and move on. But I'm just answering it so you understand the implications. That every person has likes and dislikes, which are governed by their own background and upbringing at that time. Therefore, the way you feel, the way the other questioner felt yesterday is legitimate. The way you continue to feel right now that I should reach out to people is legitimate. But for you, the problem of the person is real, and unless his problem is solved, you don't feel good. So if you somehow make him feel good, you will feel better. Correct. But even after making him feel good, you will find there are 25 more people who are not well enough. So I'm saying you can continue to do this, or you can say, if I can free myself, I have the space to handle whatever comes. So objectivity is to be able to accept what comes, respond freely without feeling stymied, without feeling helpless. Do what I can, but what comes is not in my hand. That's an enlightened view. Okay? And how do we appreciate Bhagavan's perfection without using the perfection as a blanket under which to hide? Look, if this perfection is understood, there is nothing to hide. What is perfection here? Don't think perfection is the perfection as you see it or I see it. What is perfection? How do you define perfection? Who knows what is perfection?
Nothing wrong.
Then, what is perfection? I'm saying, whole bunch of variables in the world, but the world is in a given way. It's in a state of dynamic equilibrium. And this dynamic equilibrium is not your making or mine. The human mind, see, if somebody made this design by choice, you can say, why did they make this human mind like this? He should have just made it clean. No one will hurt each other. It doesn't happen that way. We are just looking at what is, and in our attempt to solve the problem, we hit walls. And then we realize the problem is not this at all. The problem is, I don't know the reality. And if you know I'm a devotee beginning, I'm a devotee start and devotee at end, devotee never has a problem. And therefore, when you see others, the compassion is that despite having no problem, you think there's a problem. That's the compassion. Therefore, the idea is when you say Bhagavan's perfection, if I'm just using that phrase perfection to say everything is right, what is right? You tell me. Suppose there's a tsunami. Is it right or wrong? A flood. Is it good or bad? An earthquake. Good or bad? Do you know the Himalayas, tallest mountains? How were they born?
India crashing into Asia.
Perfect. Is the Himalaya today a great source of glacial water for China and India? Huge populations. Suppose there was no Himalayas, where would our rivers come from? So is it good or bad? Perhaps a lot of animals, plants, everything collapsed at a time. Is it good or bad? unless you see the larger picture, you don't know what is good or what is bad. You'll never know. So with our limited intelligence, we are trying to judge what all intelligence has to say. That's the difficulty. I think I know what is perfect, and therefore I think the world is imperfect. I have to learn to see that what I know is highly, highly limited, very restricted, very, very prejudiced. You see the language in the world today. We want to leave the earth a better place for our grandchildren. What about the grandchildren of all the animals you are making extinct? While you keep breeding pet dogs, what happens to the wild wolves? They don't have a habitat. So if you fight for the habitat, then what do you say? Human-animal conflict. There are so many human beings. Should tigers be protected in India or human beings? Elephants should be protected or human beings? That's a problem right here. You go on the street, you'll find electric fences all around. Why? Because the elephant is a problem to us. Where should the elephant go? Where should it go? But this is human-animal conflict. Why? Because the human being has been abusing his will all the way. The only way it can work is if all human beings understand they have duties. For us, it is not just a duty to fellow human beings. We don't say only human beings are life. Every creature is life. Every creature deserves to live. And therefore, my compassion is not just for humans. It's for every living being. Not just for living beings, the environment too. The river is sacred. The mountain is sacred. The plant is sacred. I don't want to hurt anything, but unfortunately, how I express my view for a sacred is I go and dump things in a river is unfortunate. This is wrong. This is because of ignorance of people. Because population pressure, everything goes wrong. And the population cannot handle things because they are all kept ignorant in a nice democratic process. You empower people on what is called as, positive discrimination because they have been disadvantaged for a long time. And now you put the people who are not competent for a job in jobs all the way. What do you expect? How will they run a place? Can they run it with intelligence? They will run it as per their intelligence. So you are not generating any new opportunities. You are only trying to divide the cake based on demographics. You're not trying to expand the cake. You're only trying to divvy up the cake. The right way is to make the cake grow so everyone has enough. But that's not the vision. It's too narrow. I have to be the president, I have to be the prime minister, I have to be the chief minister, and I must make enough money for the next 10 generations. If this is where we go, where will we go? Therefore, with this background, it's very hard. I hope your question is answered. I have extended scope a little more, okay? First, I'll drink some water. Then I will think whether I can take one more, okay? But I thought this would be a question a lot of people would haven't asked. That's my answer. Should I continue or should I? Mic, please. Hello? You decided we should close now? You can all, this I'll make it democratic. Should we stop or should we continue? Democracy. I need votes. Speakers there, you can move up. Let me look. Give me a second, okay? Okay. I think all of them can wait. Nothing pressing. We'll leave it there. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om